Yeah, no, I love like Soas for just like its social justice values, and it's kind of one of the main reasons I came, and just like how passionate everyone is about kind of supporting like the community here, and yeah, in just like different ways. So it's, I don't know, it's a massive shame to hear that they don't practice that themselves, and that of all people, Soas doesn't like treat their own staff as they preach we should treat people in life. So.
So my name is I'm a third-year law student here at Soas. I came to Soas originally on the premise that it was the breeding ground for activism, for social justice. And sadly, over the course of 4 years here at Soas, I've learned that it's nothing more than another hypocritical organization that is not willing to stand by its ground of activism. You can see this clearly with its unwillingness to bring the cleaners in-house, with its horrible practice of not paying its fractionals, and I think I'm disappointed. I'm leaving Soas this year on a happy note in the sense that I've got what I came to accomplish, but overall I think Soas has failed, and it's nothing more than another hypocritical institution.
Outsourcing is fundamentally a way to devolve responsibility of the welfare of one's workers. I think that this has no place in Soas, and I think overwhelmingly the community of Soas disagrees with these methods. The outsourcing and zero-hour contracts here at Soas are tied to a creeping and increasing privatization of the university sector that needs to be combated by our directorate, representing us as the community. This includes ending all outsourcing, ending all zero-hour contracts, bringing everybody in-house, and combating legislation that seeks to privatize the university sector on a national level, including the HE bill, which is being discussed in the House of Lords right as we speak.
So what Soas stands for in theory is amazing. Why students come to this institution, or why many students come to this institution, is because it's known as a very radical and progressive and liberal space. But the truth is that for many of us who work at Soas, particularly as fractional staff, we feel like we are working underneath a particular system of exploitation where the intellectual labor that we add, and also the labor that we add in terms of what we give into the classroom environment isn't appreciated, isn't valued by the school. So we are forced to kind of work underneath the system whereby we love the students, we love the work that we are doing. Many of us are willing to put in much more energy, much more effort and time than we're actually paid for, yet we also wind up feeling increasingly resentful because the school doesn't acknowledge that we are doing this labor and doing this work, whether that be paying us for the labor that we do, or even recognizing that actually many of the fractional staff and PhD students here contribute to the kind of intellectual liveliness of the institution. So ultimately what we are asking for is to be paid for the work that we do, and also have that be a way that recognizes that fractional staff are an important part of this institution.
And it's also a place in which the students care very much about the rights of workers and social justice. So it upsets me to see that workers, for instance security workers here, and also cleaners, aren't being treated fairly. This is very hypocritical of an institution that claims to stand up for social justice and people's rights.
And sadly, I think that the reason that Soas continues to be a hypocritical organization is because it continues to hire people like Valerie Amos. And as long as it continues to hire people who have blood on their hands, the institution as a whole will continue to facilitate bleeding people.
Because it accepts everyone, and it preaches human rights, it preaches advocacy for those who don't have a voice, and fairness and equality are at the centre of the student union. And I really love coming here and feeling so welcome. But what I struggle with is the fact that although Soas preaches all of these amazing things in life, it doesn't actually act upon them. It's quite hypocritical. I mean, tutors aren't getting paid enough, cleaners are being outsourced, and that's not okay. That's not what they talk about. They preach human rights and welfare and justice for all, and they don't act on it. And they really need to start changing their standards and raising the bar and actually practicing what they preach.
Hey, so I'm Zoe. I was a fractional teacher in Soas last academic year, and I think the thing that really upsets me about the way in which the school treats fractionals
is that it completely disregards the fact that the school is actually structurally dependent on fractionals to do a huge amount of the teaching and marking, and yet all of our demands are completely disregarded, particularly in terms of simply being paid fairly for the crucial work that we do for the school. I think it's particularly shocking that a lot of the most important scholarship coming out that criticises bad workplace practices and criticises the discrimination against employees is actually produced by Soas staff, and yet the institution continually disregards many of its most important staff members, both in terms of cleaners, porters, security guards, but also fractional teaching staff.
The campaign had its 10-year anniversary last year. It should not have gone on this long. It's about time that it was sorted. They've been campaigning for the same rights as Soas staff. Promises have been made over the years. Some of them have been partially kept, others haven't been kept at all. And as a member of the Soas academic community, I give them their full support.
I mean, I really like Soas because in general it's quite good at equality and promoting good values and everything. But then we don't have justice for cleaners. We need to promote these values more, and we need to bring cleaners in-house.
My name is Sai. I'm a PhD student here at Soas and a fractional staff member in politics. What's interesting here is that you can see the values that Soas stands by. So respect. It tells us that it treats all members of Soas fairly and with dignity. It encourages diversity and promotes equality. Here it says in engagement that it seeks excellence in research, teaching and learning. And what's amazing is that the situation that fractional staff are in, as are many other staff members in this institution, fly in the face of all these kind of lofty ideals that Soas presents itself with to its students and to the world. A lot of teaching and marking and contact hours here at Soas are done by fractional students. Most of the seminars will be run by fractional students, more of the essays will be marked by fractional students, and yet on average 50% of the work that fractionals do here at Soas is not acknowledged and considered as real actually by the university. That simply tells us that these working hours don't exist. And so I think what's ironic maybe is that while the university spends all this money on fancy decorations to say to the world what it stands for, the people who are really fighting for these values both in the institution and beyond it are Soas staff members, Soas students who are trying to install ideas like respect, like engagement, like excellence in teaching and in research in this institution. And that's not just a theoretical idea, it also starts with the ability to live properly, to pay your rent, to have a roof over your head, and therefore to be paid and recognized properly in your place of work.
The institute is quote-unquote hypocritical. No, not quote-unquote, it is hypocritical. The people, the student body, the people that work for the cleaners, the people that try to get fractionals to be paid for the book sales, and all this stuff that goes on at Soas is what makes Soas Soas. I think it's the students that make Soas that breeding ground for activism. As long as we stand together and we do what we need to get done, it'll get done. But I think that we definitely show the world that the institute is the problem and not the students and not the people that come to the institute.
Justice for Cleaners campaign is very important for the whole community because this campaign is not only about the cleaners, it's about the whole outsourced worker who has been working for many years under this outsourced company where they don't treat us their staff with dignity and respect, and they don't give equality of opportunity. So that's why the campaign is about, because we don't want to end with outsourcing, because outsourcing, as Soas for many years has proven wrong. So outsourcing doesn't show the real meaning of values and principles that the university teaches and preach, not only as Soas around the world.
La patria cumplirá su paso ya, anuncia por venir, de pie cantar, el pueblo va a triunfar, millones ya imponen la verdad, de acero son, ardiente batallón, sus manos llevando la justicia y la razón, mujer, con fuego y con valor.